So the topic of this communication or of this sharing on my side has to do with looking into STEAM education. And here STEAM includes our A as in art, to look at it in a nature setting. And to look at that, it's important to understand the context where this approach is taking place. And it is taking place in Amarante, where we have our association, Aventura Marão Clube, that is also exploring Casa da Juventude de Amarante, is like this youth center. And we work a lot in promoting healthy lifestyles. We work a lot with fair trade and sustainable consumption. We are working towards creating this eco-village, or, well, mobilizing people to create activities there also. So we have as distinctive element some values that I share here, like the fair trade itself, as I was saying, sustainability, healthy lifestyles, and healthy lifestyles include sports and food, but also it includes being in nature, as it's going to be clear right away when I explain how this activity is working. Also volunteering and human rights themselves. And also as priorities, besides human rights, sustainability, we work also a lot in intercultural dialogue, social support at local level, entrepreneurship, and both at social level and environmental level, volunteering again, and education, in the sense that we are working with non-formal education. It's important to stress the idea of non-formal education, not only because we are an NGO, so we are not a school or a university, but we work with education, but in this setting where experience is key, as well as the fact that we are working in a learner-centered way. So we work towards the specific needs of a group and so on and so forth. So when we got in Geeks for Education, when we started to think about what we do, well, basically, to what extent did we feel that it would be considered education that promotes science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and art, we started to understand that, yes, there's a lot in our work that has this connection, definitely. If we talk about sustainability, we are talking about a specific reasoning that implies scientific knowledge in some way. Also, we are working with young people in schools around Amarante, and these young people are developing their competencies and doing that with our association and the activities that we are promoting, and thinking about sustainable development or fair trade and so on and so forth, is also a way to develop these competencies. So we create this method. It's a short-term method, and one of the questions that we would like to give to you who are listening today is to what extent you feel that this could be more than a short-term method, let's say. And what I would like to explain to you is that as a short-term format, we are working with the groups in a period of 1.5 hours, 2 hours. I'm going to show you very briefly in what way we are doing this. As you can see here, we are thinking of this format mostly towards middle school, but in fact we have already tried it with adults with grown-ups, and well, it has a really, really strong impact. And not only for some aspects related to our human relation with nature, but also in aspects related to, for instance, when we were working with adults on this, related to leadership, team building, and such elements. But when we are looking into the school setting, definitely to work STEAM in nature allows us to develop literacy competency, multilingual, STEM, of course, digital, and we are going to understand a bit better why, personal, social, and learning to learn, citizenship, cultural awareness, and expression. It was a class from a school that used 2 hours of their school time. So they would have a science class at that time. And they came near the place where we have Casa da Juventude. And we worked with them in that kind of activity. And they were completely autonomous, completely free. And there were some results. Well, some of them you've seen them. And finally, in the end, you have this little bit in the end that you were looking at, where they were getting all together, because we were doing this kind of hotspot activity where we were asking them if they thought that what they had done in the activity had anything to do with engineering, for instance. And also after that, we asked them, because they are studying in the science class, they are studying how nature creates conditions for life, something like this. And we asked them if the activity allowed them to develop, to learn about that. And they were saying yes, and yes, and yes. So basically it was to not to make it too abstract, so to show you the activity happening, but then to look at what makes this activity STEAM. And one of the elements is that what we get the group to do is related to the science process itself. So the group is invited to observe nature around them, to classify, to make registries, and so on and so on. So there's a bit of this science process going on. And basically looking into STEM in specific, so science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, we can look at the activity as an activity that allows the group to experience science, because they are in fact analyzing, they are working as researchers, let's say, as scientists in nature in many different ways. Also, we can look at it as an activity that allows to experience technology in two ways. One of them is because, and this is the one that comes up stronger, because the group says that they experienced technology was there because they use their mobile. So we give them the freedom to use their mobiles to, like, for instance, to film a bug. You saw in the video an example of that. Or other, to make a photograph of a plant and try to find out through an app what plant is it, and so on and so forth. So this is a way, but also in the way that nature has its own technology, has its own complex system as technology has, and so it allows for learning around technology to happen. Sorry. Then in what concerns art is to, well, you see these images here. I mean, nature is very rich in giving us tools and resources to create and to be creative. In what concerns mathematics, yes, I mean, there are kind of inherent equations to nature, and also, and we had the opportunity to explore this in Lille with our partners from Collège Paul Verlaine. There's this relationship between what we can take out from nature and what we can learn in mathematics, like in case of geography, but not only. This image relates to tessellation, which was something that our colleagues explained us there. So yes, nature has mathematics going on. Then the engineering part, it's a bit on this idea of mimicry and biomimicry, which is the way that nature works, allows us to kind of simulate or find solutions for engineering based on the way that the nature works. And our assumption in this sharing that I'm making with you is that the fact that we are doing this not only promotes STEM education, but it also makes it a tool for social transformation. So this is an image, a scheme, a graphic visualization from the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. And what they are telling us is that we have this kind of integrated look into our reality that we should do. Okay, so if we have ecosystem-based approaches, we are looking at the societal challenges in an integrated way, and this demands to look into the human well-being and the biodiversity benefits that come from these ecosystem-based approaches. More or less, this is it. Of course, there would be more to say around this concept or approach or look into, but basically looking into the next phrase is this idea where at a moment in our collective life when crisis, tension, the fast pace are keywords, it is fundamental to contribute to social transformation in the sense of our ability to change our reality around ourselves through nurturing ourselves, taking care of ourselves. And we have this strong belief that these activities in nature, through nature, towards nature, protecting nature, and so on and so forth, nurture our being. And the feedback that we are having both from grown-ups and from young people is that they are not having time to be in nature like in those 2 hours. So, and again, this is why I would like us to think about how can we make these 2 hours become something, I don't know, long-term, continuous, or whatever. But as I was saying, to contribute to social transformation, to nurturing ourselves, and that way deepening our values towards ecology and society. So again, I would very much like to hear if it makes sense for you, this connection with an activity that is in fact so simple, is just to do things in nature, and it can take different shapes, but if you agree that it has this impact, this potential for social transformation, as well as to develop our ecological values and so on. So thank you, and I hope to hear your feedback.